On June 26, 2024, a coup d'etat was attempted in the Bolivian capital of La Paz. In this video, filmed just one day later on June 27th, we want to go into a little bit of the behind the scenes of how this military coup unfolded and what really is the story here. So I thought the best place to start would be to look at the Luis Arce Wikipedia page. Luis is the president of Bolivia. He has been the president since 2020. He is a banker and economist by training, and he's been in power for about 4 years. He's a member of the Movement for Socialism. This is a left-leaning political party. In Spanish, it's Movimiento al Socialismo, Movement to Socialism. But in any case, he's socialist, left-leaning, and that's the leadership that Bolivia has had in place for 4+ years, is a socialist, left-leaning president. And I was looking at some of the articles talking about the state of Bolivia right now. The country is growing, but at a slow pace of about 1.6% is the projection for this year. And they've talked about how US dollar reserves are dwindling, how the balance of trade deficit is growing, and just how economically the numbers aren't super great for Bolivia, even though they could and should be based on the resource wealth of the country. So kind of interesting that this banker and economist isn't really running a tight ship in Bolivia. The numbers seem to be getting worse, and that probably had something to do with the attempted military coup. So who is behind the military coup? His name is Juan Jose Zuniga. He is the leader of the military, a former general commander of the army in La Paz. I'm not sure if it's current or former or yesterday, what exactly his position is in the military, but it's safe to say, since he has now been arrested, he is no longer in charge. And the story that has been reported in a number of newspapers was that he stormed the presidential palace, or not, palace, but he stormed the main building in La Paz. There was a confrontation in the hallway between Zuniga and Arce. Arce told him to stand down, and one thing led to another. Zuniga was arrested yesterday, and this whole thing seems to have blown over. What was interesting is that yesterday, at the time, the day of, on the 26th, a lot of reports were coming out that the coup was successful, that the former president was deposed, that there was new leadership in the palace, and that the coup was successful. And then more and more information began trickling out that the coup had failed, and as of the 27th, 24 hours later, international community is widely reporting that the coup failed and things are going back to normal. So Arce presented himself publicly yesterday with the clenched fist, basically proclaiming that they overcame the military coup attempt as a show of force and strength, that he was still in power. And that's where we're at now. I think a lot of information will become clear in the coming weeks about exactly what led to this and how it happened and the circumstances. And so more will be revealed in the coming days and months. What's interesting is that I guess what's important here, there's probably a lot of takeaways, but the left-leaning socialist government is still in charge. There has been lately a wave of right-wing movements in Latin America. We saw it in Ecuador. We're seeing a surge in Colombia. We're kind of seeing it everywhere in Latin America due to the inspiration of leaders like Milei and Bukele, that real change is possible. And we're going to keep our eyes posted on this situation in Bolivia. If Bolivia became more right and more capitalist, similar to, say, Paraguay, that could really open up some opportunities in the country. So for now, military coup squashed, attempt thwarted, Zuniga arrested or detained, and we'll keep an eye on this issue moving forward.